Hello and welcome to that BS show. I'm always looking at the buttons and getting it wrong. I'm Kimberly, and this is my beautiful co-host Sarah Jane, and we are coming to you from behind the fan after the election. We did not have a show last Monday. Sarah was under the weather, so this is kind of our first show back after a election that we just had. Pretty crazy.
That was very crazy.
Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
I
And it's
think
continuing. I mean, the crazy is just happening in a different way. So I'm sure we'll discuss that at some
it's
point.
still crazy right now. The crazy hasn't stopped actually.
And I don't think it will. The astrology does not support that. The astrology says we haven't even hit the on-ramp yet.
Yeah, actually the astrology is funny. Like listening to some of these astrologists, these more left-leaning astrologists has been kind of comical.
I will say that I didn't realize some of the I mean, I followed them, but you don't know their politics. And then now and after the election you do, and I was like, unfollow, 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 unfollow. Nope. Nope. It tells me that you actually are not connecting dots deep enough for me.
Yeah, it's that, and also you could just tell that I don't know, I do there are very few that are like very either centrist or even more either unplugged completely from politics and kind of criticize both sides. I can handle that. I appreciate
Mhm.
that when people criticize both sides equally, but when they are just extremely leftist and they come out with the rage mob, with the machine, and it's kind of like, I don't know. I just in general, I prefer a more counterculture and contrarian type of person in general. I also feel like it gives them a more bird's eye view to be more like critical of everything. But yeah, I kind of knew a lot of these astrologers were already very like leftist thinkers and stuff just from like little things they would post here and there, also leading up to the election. I also saw some astrologists like the astrology twins who I saw that they kind of tried to maintain, like people would go heavy in their comments and you could see that they wouldn't really divulge what they feel politically,
I've
even if
never
they
heard
are
of
more
them.
left leaning. um they're pretty good. I like them. But they're I can still follow them, but I think you sent me one and I unfollowed her as well because it's just too much. It's like silly and it's just more
Yeah.
fear
Yeah.
porn, like
Yeah.
rage mob, and it's just
Yeah.
stupid.
I
It's
like Leo
dumb.
King from the masculine perspective, and I like Sabrina from Rewilding. Female. I like Coyote Star Astrology, Molly McCord. Um, those are the main ones. The rest of
There's
them,
an
if I follow them on Instagram, they're just giving me 30-second sound bites. That's maybe, and I already have watched the people that I really follow. And if I'm just scrolling through Instagram, I'll listen to what they have to say, and so I don't really pay much attention to them. But fuck, the one that I sent you, and like I was like, and I don't know why I don't
sorry.
I don't know that it's not shocking. It's just like, "Oh, didn't see that one coming." And again, for me, it just means you're not connecting. Well, yeah, we just have very different viewpoints on, what the stars are saying.
Yeah, and that's okay, but it's also kind of funny because if you go back and like listen to those types of people's predictions, it's like, oh, you were wrong, you
Yeah.
know.
Boy, I saw this one lady that was I've seen some crazy shit of people on the left of the things that they're saying. One mother can't believe that her 2 sons voted for Trump, and she at the end of it basically says you're evil. Like she can't fathom that she raised these 2 boys. There was another one,
Where do
well,
you
I
expect boys to go, though? Where do you expect them to go when you demonize masculinity, you demonize men? It's all yes, queen and girl power and women's rights, and then you have these interviews and people saying we don't need men, society doesn't need men, blah 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 blah. And it's like where else? When you leave no room for men or masculine people, you leave no room in your party and your ideas and your
Mhm,
talking points, and all you do is slander and belittle and degrade them. Why, I
mhm,
get it. Trust me, I get it. I have some feminist beliefs, definitely, but they leave room for both. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Mhm.
like polarization. I don't think that society would do well with only women. Who's going to build the fucking roads? Who's going to build the plumbing? Who's going to dig up a trench in your yard when your fucking pipes need to be replaced? Who's going to roof your house? Who's going to do the gas lines? Who's like I want to know. These women have no answers as if society needs no maintenance or maintaining. Yes, these men built the foundations of our society and it needs maintenance, believe it or not. Just because the bones and the structure is there doesn't mean that it
Yeah.
needs constant upgrading, you know? So
Yeah,
it's just like,
I also think that it's this is when I see these women, and I mean, I always say this. For me, it just always goes back to trauma. And so I'm looking at the archetypes. I'm looking at, I mean, because the archetypes are us. So it's not like when I watch this play, the actors on the stage, I just see, it's just trauma. I just think these women are so deeply epigenetic. I really think that some of this is epigenetic coming up. These women are so bitter and angry at men. I just to have Trump trigger that kind of spiral. First off, politics, if you have a visceral reaction to politics, you're just gonna have a fucking tough time, regardless. So I just I, that they're so openly wearing their mental illness, and they they truly believe at the foundation. I mean, no sex, no babies, and I've seen women like leave your husband, divorce him, no men. I'm like, who the fuck? Why would, like, what kind of fucking movement are I just maybe because if they're sided one, our movement would just look so different. It just would look so different. It would just be so different. And I all these things that, and people could probably say the same thing, and but although I do believe that if their side won, it just would have been different. I believe that in my heart. It just would have been awful. Um, but oh god damn it, I forgot what I was gonna say. It just ran out of my head.
I
Just
just
ran,
want to touch on like I don't appreciate the people on the right, especially the red pill. I kind of had a discussion with one of my friends, and she sends me a lot of like Nick Fuentes and Andrew Tate material sometimes, and I don't really know why she likes them. Like I know she likes being based and stuff, and but at some point I feel like both sides are like icky. Like Nick
oh
Fuentes,
sure.
that your body, my choice, and like
Yeah, that was disgusting.
coming from a can't say it on YouTube, but a little gay boy who's never seen a vagina in his life and a little fucking prude. Um, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like this isn't a time to further the divide. Like we already won.
Absolutely not.
Why do you have to rub it in? Why do you have to promote more fear? And like I actually do understand. I've been having productive conversations with some of my friends who are genuinely scared, do I think that their fear is um misplaced and also a little silly? Yes,
Genuinely
but
scared of what?
I don't know. Just these are people you have to remember that believe the propaganda, Kim. Like these are people who are literally fell victim to ideological brainwashing.
Yeah.
They really believe that some orange boogeyman is coming to make them a fucking handsmaid tale or whatever, which is so ridiculous. But at the same time, it
Well,
is
I would venture
untrue
to say a lot of
because
them were into watching Handmaid's Tale too, which again, it goes down to trauma. There's a reason why people watch things, do things. It's because their subconscious is driving them to this. So when I see this, the deeper is definitely a mental illness and a trauma response. But it's not just Trump. And you're right, it's the propaganda, but that propaganda is targeted at their epigenetic trauma.
it is,
It's
but
targeted.
it's also so like steeped. Like like even as somebody who
Sure.
doesn't believe this shit, I can't get away from it. It's day in, day out, 24/7. wall to wall fucking coverage of orange man baddies coming for your rights. America's going to be
But they
changed.
also
Women and
watch it 24/7.
they do, but also, I mean, yes, it's an echo chamber too, because that's what happens online. You end up falling into echo
Yeah.
chambers because you follow all the people that are ideologically and politically aligned with you. So then it's all you see all the time. So all I'm saying though is like I have genuinely had some productive
Good.
conversations with women about how their fears are kind of not rooted in truth, and how like nobody's coming to outlaw abortion totally. Like Trump has even said that multiple times. You can Google it. JD Vance recently, I think it was I don't know, in one of those interviews that he did, talked about it and how he's actually changed his mind, and he believes in abortion rights up to 12 weeks, term limits, which is
The
pro-choice. It's
research
not
isn't that
it's
hard to find that kind of truth. I'm not
it's
giving
not
these people the
it's
kind of
not
pass.
but it's not pro-abortion. You know what I mean? It is pro-choice, which is safe, legal, and rare with term limits, because that
It would
makes
take
sense. That
5 minutes to understand what rights back to the states means. It would take 2 seconds to Google something, and like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like, of course, compassion and empathy, they're truly scared. But at the end of the day,
But
we
no, no,
are,
no. I don't want to get off track. All I'm saying though is I don't appreciate these right wingers who are, one, gloating, two, making weird statements to further the fear, who
yeah.
think that they're validating these people's fears. I don't appreciate it. I don't like it. I don't
I
side with
don't
those
know what
kind of
that
men or
statement is.
people.
I don't know what you're
Oh,
talking
it was
about
it
there.
was Nick Fuentes, and he made a little comment saying "Your body, my choice," and it's like,
Well, he's gay, so
oh, he won't admit that, but he is. So it's like, that's what I'm like,
it's so
literally, like,
fucking
he was like,
obvious.
your body, my choice. Who's he talking to? Not women, because he doesn't choose women. So y'all can calm down already. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, let's make fun of
Fucking
him instead. Like,
yeah, let him be shit on your shoe. Like, fuck that
mhm.
bitch.
And it's just like, I don't know. So that's all I was saying, is that
I know.
I just don't appreciate that side of it. And it's like, we already won. You don't need to rub it in. You
I
don't need
agree.
to,
I
it's like, let's
agree.
move forward. These are our fellow countrymen. Is
I
I
agree.
kind of, in some instances,
And
hate to say
I'd
that.
like to sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, we need to leave room to bring people back into the fold. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, that's what I
Absolutely.
want to do.
Yeah. And I honestly truly believe that with time, give it a little bit of time before you start, it takes some deep breaths. And I really do believe that the libertarian philosophy has a very big ear of the White House. I firmly believe it. I believe it with RFK. I believe it with Nicole Shanahan. I believe that there is a huge opportunity if we hold like three-court press, or what is it? Keep on them.
Yes.
Hold people's feet to the fire.
Yeah, hold the
Now
line.
we have a
Don't let them
huge
get to these
opportunity.
neocons.
We have a huge opportunity um, to take to have the, and then I saw like they're not going to give Bobby Kennedy anything in the White House. Well, I just watched an interview with, I think, like, before we panic and who's appointing who and who's doing what, let's see if I can dig her some deeper truth.
Also, I think he
And
doesn't want a spot in the White House. I think he wants a spot like either with the FDA or some sort of like government like
so that's, but
watchdog
there
type
was
of
there was
deal.
a report saying that he's already not following through on his promises, what people are going to get. So I dug a little deeper, and there was somebody was a big supporter of his, and um, just gave kind of a 15-minute overview of he's getting intel right from there, and he's like, don't believe what you're hearing that Trump isn't doing what he's saying he's going to do, and it with certain thing like, and of course, then the Pompeo thing is, who he points to some of that shit will say a lot. But before, I guess what I'm saying
Let's
is,
see who he picks first before we
yeah,
don't
everybody's
put dirt
already
before the horse
forecasting
or
that it's going to
whatever.
be this doom and it's like, don't, like, fuck off. Can we have a few days where it's like that first day after the election? Oh, it just felt incredible out. It felt in the collective. You could feel it. You could absolutely feel it.
The boys are back in town. The boys are
Yeah.
back in town.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
kind of my feel, you know what I mean? And it's like, You know, it's so funny because I remember when Joe Biden got elected, there was like this talking point from left wing media that was like, "Oh, the adults are back," and that ended very, very quickly because these people aren't the adults. This is the party. This is the establishment, and like there were, dude, the fucking memes this last week have been like, mwah. The memes
Hmm.
have been so gold. But there was this
They
one that was
have
like,
been.
"Oh wow, who thought Dick Cheney as brat was going to be a good like point to run on?" You know what I mean? It's like the literal establishment, the neocons, the war hawks. If there's ever an indication that a person is the establishment, business as usual, same old, corporate elitist fucking propaganda puppet person, it is when the entire neoliberal and neoconservative groupies get behind you. You know what I mean? Because these are two wings of the same fucking bird.
Yeah.
And we all knew it. And anybody who's in the know knew that she was the puppet. She was the establishment pick. And when
Hmm.
people are like, I can't believe you're voting, he's the anti establishment pick. Call him what you want, say whatever you want. He is anti establishment. And I know because the entire establishment have turned out against him. And they don't fucking do that if they like you, if they want you. You know what I mean? So the fact I read who his enemies were, and that's literally why I voted for him because I dislike the people that dislike him more than I actually disliked Trump. You know what I mean? Like, and
Hmm.
that's the end of it for me. Like that was
Hmm.
pretty much all I fucking needed. Is no, I'm never gonna pick an establishment party hack. And guess what?
Hmm.
If both Republican and Democrat candidates are neocon, neo-lib, fucking hacks, I'm not voting for either. I'm not participating in your little stupid game. You know, but if there's a legitimate person who represents a
Hmm.
threat to the establishment, to the powers that be,
Hmm.
to the World Economic Forum, Davos fucking agenda people, then
Hmm.
yeah, you're damn right I'm going to back them. And I
Yeah.
don't care. I don't care if you're going to cry and disown me as a friend. Ooh, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I have friends, I have family, I have people that love me, I have people that go hang out with every fucking weekend. I don't need these people then. Disown me. Just be unfriend me.
Mhm.
It
Did
doesn't
you
hurt
see
me.
Mersh and Royce on Revenge of the Sis? They said, "Fine, start your we're not gonna fuck you protest or whatever." He goes, we'll go fuck somebody else." Like like they don't care, ladies. They really don't care. And um, I saw something. One was like a poison ring, basically saying like kill.
All of that.
And then one lady was like,
Aqua
"Get a gun, and
Tofana or something.
if you're a white guy and I see you, but you have to be white and it has to be dark," and it's just like, okay, first off, you you
Kill for the
probably
rest of your
shouldn't
life.
be
Do it.
doing that and threatening to kill people, even if you think it's okay, I guess. But
And even
I
if that's not some shit you publicly broadcast, like, do you have a brain at all? Like, premeditated murder and shit on your fucking socials? Are you stupid? Like, tell me you want to get
this
caught
is
and
the
go to jail
power of
without
mind
telling me.
control. This is the
What?
power of targeting and mind control and the
Oh,
power
what? They'll
of,
willingly send themselves to jail? Good job. Oh, wow.
well,
You really showed them.
martyr themselves for a movement. And
There's,
remember, we've talked on several, especially in the beginning, we talked about the power of drugs and ritual and the power of the subconscious and epigenetic trauma. There was a period of time, and I have a collection of poison rings. There was a time when I first started my journey working with archetypes that all of a sudden now I wanted to collect poison rings. But it also took me a time in my past life where I I was killed with them, and I've killed with them, right? And so it was meant to be cleared and healed, not because I really wanted to have poison rings and be so stuck in rage and anger at
Damn, I just thought a modern day poison ring was to like put some cocaine in it or something.
well, for the normal person, like, it's, yeah, I mean, you're not thinking about really doing it. But when I saw that woman, I was like, okay, because I remember a time when I had poison rings. And I have one labradorite one that's my favorite, and I put like little crystals in it. And if I'm doing like a full moon ritual or something, I'll wear it. But It did start because when I was going through epigenetic trauma in different times in my life and past life energy, it was coming up that I had been like on a court, a royal court, and I used one. Or I had another one where I actually know that I'd been poisoned. So I was clearing epigenetic trauma, and that's the power of ritual. And so why things come to you and why, you know, anyway, the subconscious is a very incredible thing. When you start working with energies, amazing, really interesting things start happening in the way that the universe communicates with you.
Well, I saw that one, and then with the poison rings, did you see that? Apparently, there's some lady from the 1600s, and they called it agua tofana or something like
That's what
that.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
like apparently somebody I saw, like I don't, maybe it was, I was watching a Tim Pool segment. He talked about it, and like he read the Wikipedia page, and it's like rumored that she possibly was like the person with the highest number of kills as a serial killer, because it's like predicted that she gave over like 500 women this drug to kill their husbands or something like that. So it's
okay,
like,
so this is what I'm saying. When stuff like this starts popping up and in the psyche here, that's coming up from energy there.
yeah,
That's how this works. And so when we were talking about one of our in the beginning of our show, the power of ritual and drugs and the power of the subconscious, this is it playing out. This is the perfect fucking example. And
there's also that for
these
people
women
that,
are that are joining it. It wouldn't surprise me if they were one of the 500 that she gave it to in another life. And they're
and
meant to
there
clear this and heal it.
there are some people I think though too that if you don't believe in like past lives and stuff, that's okay. There's actually another theory that I can actually speak on, and if you've ever read the Body Keeps the Score, it's a
Yep.
lovely book, and he talks about genetic trauma, maybe not possibly from a individual past life, but from your family line. Like there are people
Yeah.
that had these horrible fears of getting burned, and then it turned out that like their great grandma was,
Yep.
put in an oven in the concentration camp or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
and there's like, and things that like you don't even realize, like they didn't even know that they actually ended up finding that out after, and they had this fear of like incineration. They didn't know where it came from, and I can speak a little bit on that myself. As I was very scared of injections, needles for a very long time, especially as a child. Like I actually was one of those kids that had to be strapped down on this little bed that had Velcro straps that went all the way across it, because I would punch and kick and fight. And my mom tells me this story, and it's so weird. She just like recounted it to me like maybe a month ago, and I actually remember it vividly. She says I was about 4 years old. I had to get a blood test, a normal one, and apparently they counted too many white blood cells, and so they called her and they wanted me to come back that same day. And she took me back, but this time they had kind of tricked me before, like, oh, look at the monkey, boop, like tricked me the first time. But the second time I went back that day, I kind of knew, I think, what was going to happen, and I was in the hospital again. And my mom recounts that it actually took three nurses and herself to hold each limb down of I think I was 4 or 5, little child, wildly, like one or two people couldn't do it. There needed to be one person on each limb in order for the doctor to come and do it. And when they were done, my mom said I just wept and wept in her arms. And one of the nurses says, I have never seen a child with that amount of strength. I have never seen anything like that in my life. And like, why would I be so scared of that? Who knows if there was a family member that was stabbed or something like that? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
but for whatever reason, it garnered this fight or flight for my life existence. Like
Mhm.
they even ended up like taking my pulse, because I guess they were scared that, I was just, they even thought about giving me some sort of sedative, but it was just, it was over before it was done. And then the
Mhm.
blood test was kind of like a false negative, and everything ended up being fine, but
Mhm.
when she recounted that to me, I actually remember that. I remember the fluorescent lights. I remember everybody holding me down. And I remember
Yeah.
just like being so scared, like
Yeah.
so scared,
Yeah.
and
And that's why when I see, when I saw these women and from a observation, observe, don't absorb. So what am I observing here? And I'm observing some, in my opinion, I mean, a deep, deep. I do believe that they believe the fear for sure. But when I saw that with the belladonna in the ring, and I was like, these women, if you put them if you put them in like a past life regression, it wouldn't surprise me if they were the women that she gave those drugs to, and because until we
or
heal
in
it
some
keeps
other
coming
form,
back.
or they poisoned, or they were poisoned in some other
Yeah,
form, but maybe just the idea
yeah,
of poison, it's like
yeah.
something
That's
that.
what it's coming up, and the only reason that it stood out to me was because I remember going through a phase when I was deep in my past life studies that I mean, it's why I have poison rings. But again, it was I never like thought about like poisoning anybody. Now, what I did do was I had a Black Widow one that I did put herbs and stuff in that and put a protection spell on it, but not, not in the way
Yeah,
that,
it wasn't with the intention to hurt anybody,
no, it was to protect myself.
protect yourself. Yeah.
When I was and that's beginning when I was working with energy, and then because when you're working with ritual and you're doing this sort of thing, I would have, for lack of a better word, downloads of other lives where I would use them, but it was about alchemizing that and clearing it so that it was no longer in my field. It was, you're as we work with these energies, we're clearing them, and that's when they say you're not just healing yourself, you're healing your family line. Well, that's
Yes.
part of it. So what's coming up when I'm seeing these women is a deep healing that I hope takes place for them. I do hope, and I certainly would not encourage anybody to, kill somebody with those. I mean,
Or
if you're being
themselves. There's all these
artistic and
stories about
dramatic, or
there's
themselves,
stories about people coming out and like in mass. Actually, I think there's been at least 100 or more people who have like apparently committed suicide post election.
I
And
saw
that
I
is
saw
also
some
so
numbers that were
sad and
pretty scary.
silly. I'm sorry, it's silly. He's not even in office yet. Like what? He was already president once. Nothing fascistic happened. And the part that bothers me the most is that they are the authoritarians. Like the other side is the authoritarians, and they project onto their other side what they themselves are guilty of. You guys are the
Yeah,
authoritarians. I'm sorry, it is true. You also look at the way that the Democrats subvert democracy. Look what they did to Bernie Sanders, to Biden. They forced the other two to drop out. Look at the way that
and
they
they don't
replaced.
seem to be able to even like process that and be like, if we cared about freedom and we really
Are
cared
we the
about our fellow
baddies?
man.
Are we the baddies? Yes, you're the fucking baddies. Like you guys are the baddies. You know what I mean?
I
Like
gotta say, yeah, I have a couple people on my Facebook feed that I mean, I knew they were left, but I did not know that it was this deep for them. And like they've turned their Facebook page profile to black. They're, I mean, they're struggling.
and, and
They're
to all these
struggling.
and to all these little leftist women talking about that 4B movement and talking about going to celibacy. Well, join the fucking club, bitches, because I've been on that game for a couple years now, and I am not a psycho leftist feminist. I am a person who is very picky. I am voluntarily celibate. I am not just going to have sex with any random fucking dude that thinks I'm pretty. I'm not going to do that. I am holding off for somebody that loves me and cares about me and deserves me. And that's why I'm doing it, not for
Mhm.
some silly, we're not going to have sex with men anymore. Like, no, I definitely still love men and care about men, and I want to be with a man one day, but it's
Mhm.
just not until somebody proves that they're worthy. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that.
No.
And
No, and that's why it's so strange to watch it. It's like, the men don't like, there's plenty of women, they're like, men are going to be okay. You're just not
you're
accomplishing
not
what you
hurt.
think you're
You're,
accomplishing.
you're only hurting yourself. You think that, yeah. It's
You're
just a
just
weird, like
becoming more and
spiteful
more
thing
miserable
too.
and bitter.
Hmm.
When the one thing that
Exactly.
you probably most crave more than anything is a divine partner and union. But your
You're
lack
not going to
of,
get it being spiteful and hateful towards men.
no, no, it's just so unappealing and like ugh, like I don't think they're gonna be sad that you're not out fucking them, you
Yeah, they're
miserable.
gonna. they're gonna be
And
able to.
they're not. The men that, and there are plenty of men that are, they're just fine without you in the pool.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all. I think that what we'll see now, and the astrology says like we haven't even hit the on ramp for what's coming. So and we're getting Pluto
Didn't
Aquarius. I'm
Mercury go
talking.
retrograde?
What's up? It's getting
Didn't
ready to.
Mercury go? Yeah, it's stationed. Yeah, it's in its pre-retrograde phase, right?
Yeah. So the rest of the
Yeah.
year is really about it, and also enjoying the change in the circadian rhythm, enjoying the slowing down of winter. Really, really, and Scorpio this month is so much about self care.
I'm sorry, I have to get
Um,
a lozenger.
yeah, is so much about self care and really. This is some deep, deep waters here in Scorpio, very deep waters. And um, I know I've been feeling it. I was telling Sarah before we went on air that I just, for whatever reason, have some it's just heavy energy. And it has to do with, um, well, for me, I am on this really big health kick in this self-care journey and learning de truly how to love myself regardless of where I'm at every day. And, so I just made some changes with I was taking more vitamins. I added HRT to my health regimen, and I'm just not having the results on HRT. It got rid of the foggy brain, but I'm having some symptoms that like I'm just not real happy with. So it's really being in touch and honoring what your body's feeling, and talking to the doctor, and not beating myself up because I'm not really liking how I'm feeling right now, and being like, okay, this will pass too. But recognizing that it's very easy to go into the older thought patterns where and just beat yourself up. So I'm not doing that. I'm more like reaching out to my doctor and asking questions, and it it's all good. It's not going to be the end of anything. But I am a little disappointed that the other people. I was just all these. I gained weight, or I'm just bloated, and I'm just not used to this feeling after a year and a half of having such a. Because I wasn't having any of the symptoms except for foggy brain, and so
Yeah, I mean, if you go from feeling good to, I don't know, like I said earlier, you've already made so many changes to your life that maybe your body, like it helped your hormones and all your endocrine system reset naturally, and you didn't really
yeah,
need that. So
yeah.
maybe it's an option for 5
Yeah,
to 10 years
and I
down the
started
road.
taking ashwagandha, and I started taking stuff for foggy brain and herbs, so I'll just keep taking those. I'm going off the HRT, though. I'm just it's not I just don't feel it in my gut, and I pulled a couple tarot cards on it too, because I was like, "Okay." And I will wait for the doctor to get back to me and see what he says, but I'm pretty sure my gut's telling me just go off of it. And you know what it did make me do, though? I've been
Mm.
working out, and I've been like I've been like, "Okay, no, this is not gonna happen." So I've been hitting, like, the working out and doing that more just in because if this just doesn't fall off me, and it's probably only, like, 7 pounds, but if it doesn't fall off me, I'm gonna work it off me. So
It's
that's good.
also like,
That's good self-care. And remember, I think in one of the beginning of our shows last year, earlier this year, I said that what would be transiting through my sixth house, and it would all be about appearances, and I would go through a lot. It would all be about routine and appearances. Well, here we are. So this is just
yeah, it's a little shake up, it's a little mix up, you know what I mean? But I feel like I know HRT is one of those things too that once you're on it for a long time, it is kind of hard to stop. Or I know for men especially, you're not once you're on HRT, you kind of can't stop. You know what I mean? It might be a little different
yeah.
for men, but I mean for women, but for men, I've just heard several takes on it where it's like you should make sure and with your doctor and that it's right for you because it's not something that you want to like go on and off of.
Yeah,
But
I'm only second. I'm supposed to have my first 3 months. You have a consultation, but
mm,
I talked to my doctor. I would send him today, so we'll see. I'm still, but I'm pretty sure that. Well, I'm not pretty sure about anything. But and it's
Okay.
just yeah, we'll see. But again, it has to do a lot with, you know, this is very intense astrology. So being very gentle with yourself. Have you been feeling the intensity of it, or have you been cruising
Um,
through?
as you can tell, I've been a little sick, so I've been a little under the weather, but I've been kind of cruising through. I've been in this lane for a while, and I feel like there are some people who are just barely either people who just recently kind of changed their political stance or something big in their life, and they're just kind of now getting the courage to speak about their opinions, where I've been riding this wave for the last 4 years. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think for me, it's not so difficult to navigate with the political side, and I haven't received much backlash. Like, sure, there have been a few people here and there that have replied to some of my stories, but for the most part, everybody already knows how I feel, and everybody who follows me, who's been following me, who's my friend, who's been my friend for more than 4 years,
Yeah.
they know me, and they know that I actually haven't really changed. To be honest, I've kind of always felt this way. I've always been a libertarian. I was a Ron Paul libertarian in 2012, and I've maintained that. You know what I mean? And I've maintained my political stance and difference away from the crowd, away from the group. It sometimes at
Mhm.
great personal risk to myself. And there are the people that either fucking hate me for it, and then there are the people that love me and are just like, that's Sarah. And then there's the people that love me and they have mad respect for me because they know how hard it is to likewise do the same. Like I've had a few friends tell me, like, dude, thank you. Just you speaking on it, posting things has like given me the space because I see you still have friends. I see you're still out, with a
Yeah.
group of people, and it didn't really cost
Mhm.
you that much. And like, why not me? Why can't I be the same? And sure, I've heard some people that have had like an initial fall off, maybe a little bit of initial beginning backlash, but like after that original people fall off, it's kind of like whatever's left over, like those are either your people or those are the people that at least respect you enough to let you feel
Mhm.
differently. And I don't really.
I think this is huge for people to see that it's not going to be that they've learned a lot about what the veil and the men behind it. And
Hmm.
I think this is going to be, I feel hopeful. Look, I still think there's going to be a reset coming. I still think it's going to be politics, but I also do believe that there are enough people that are going to hold these people accountable in a different way than ever before. I think that while they say every election's the most important, and a lot of time it seems to be bullshit, but I do think that this had enough people kind of at their core really like, okay, this country's worth fighting for, and we've got some work to do. And
And
I
people are
think,
sick of it. People are fucking
mhm,
sick of it. They're sick of the
mhm,
same old business as normal, Washington as usual. People are fucking sick of it. They want change, even if
mhm.
it comes at great personal risk to them. Even if people had to like swallow their pride and be like, I mean, I don't like him either, but shit, man, something needs to change. And Kamala represents the same old shit. And it's like enough people did it. Like, what are they calling it? A popular mandate. You know what I mean? Like that's when like I hate to say it, and I'm not trying to be mean to leftists, but you guys at this point have kind of lost the culture war. You know what I mean? Like that's what this was a signal to, that you lost the culture war. People are rejecting leftist policies, leftist ideologues, leftist ideology, far left fucking movements, the far
Yeah.
left weird social
Mhm.
movements. You know what
Well,
I mean?
because
Like,
you pushed it down everybody's throat in a way that was, yeah,
sorry, I'm sorry.
it just,
I feel like I need a spit.
yeah, well, the one thing, in libertarianism, what is it? The non-aggression principle. So no initiation of force or fraud. And you forced your way in your traumas in a lot of ways. You're wanting people to, you demanded that they use different words and change the language, and for and people are just tired. Yeah, like you said, people are just tired of it. It's just too much. Nobody's funny. You wouldn't even let people be funny. And then,
Yeah, they
the
outlawed
First
laughter.
Amendment.
They outlawed comedy. Like, come on.
Yeah, the First Amendment, there's a reason why it's the first one. It's for the words you don't like, and it's if your feelings get hurt. It's kind of too fucking bad. Of course,
And there's a reason why the Second
in a
Amendment is there to
theater and
protect the
all that
first
shit, we
one.
know that. What's that?
I said there's a reason why the Second Amendment is there just in case the first one fails. Isn't that the joke? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, but for people, and then for people to on the left to not even understand and for I think for everybody, the fact that we don't declare war. That's everybody, and it is two sides of the same coin, But the Constitution, like, well, it probably hasn't been the Constitution since the day after it was fucking signed,
I mean, if
you
we're being
know,
real, yeah, but
which is
there's still.
why anarchists would get into arguments with minarchists. And I mean, this is the minutia of, or the intricacy minutia of when you sit down at a libertarian gathering and you have an anarcho-capitalist, an anarcho-communist, and a minarchist. And, then you get into those arguments and would say that absolute power corrupts absolutely. And eventually, you know,
And it does, and that was the biggest flaw to me with the left is like they wanted absolute power. You could tell they
yeah.
don't care about
Mhm,
authoritarianism as long as they're the ones that are the
mhm,
authorities. As long as their
mhm,
authoritarianism, they don't care. They don't care about totalitarianism. They don't fear fascistic
mhm.
totalitarianism as long as they're the ones that are heading the fucking totalitarianism. They don't care. You know what I mean? So it's like save me your fucking lectures and your petty emotional tears and your bullshit
Mhm,
because you guys wanted complete authority and the American people
mhm.
rejected it. And instead of pointing your fingers at Biden or at evil, that half the country is misogynistic and white supremacist, why don't you point the fucking
Yeah.
finger at yourself? Why don't you take that magnifying glass and look in? Why don't you look at it as a repudiation of all of your fucking politics, all of your bullshit social policies, and all of your absolute harsh judgment on your the people you deem your opposition. I mean, look at what's going on. Oh, we're cutting off family members. We're cutting off my mom who's dying of cancer because she voted for Trump with what will be her last vote. And how do you not see that you are the authoritarians? You are the fascists. That's what fucking fascists do. That's what authoritarians do. They say, if you don't believe what I believe, if you don't follow my fucking lead, then you're out, bud. You're fucking cut off because you are the authoritarian. That is what authoritarians do. And you are being authoritarian by telling everybody that if they don't fall in line, they're done. Yeah, done, kid. Well, guess what? We don't care. And I don't care, but I do feel bad for some of these people, these unwitting people whose children or nieces or radical psycho leftists and they just wanted their gas and their fucking it's the economy, stupid. I love all of these people. We can't believe that you want cheaper eggs so you would vote for a fascist. You didn't know that? It's a tale and an adage as old as time. It's the economy, stupid. Google that fucking phrase and find out what it means because everybody knew that the economy was going to decide because it always does. And the left failed us. They failed America. They fucking
Mhm,
increased inflation, the price of goods, houses.
mhm.
Oh, you thought Kamala was going to do something for people to buy houses? Give me a fucking break. Look it up. Doug Emhoff, her husband, all of his investments are in BlackRock and Vanguard. Who's buying up all the
Mhm,
houses and renting them back to the people? BlackRock and
mhm,
Vanguard. Ooh,
mhm.
riddle me that. How long is it going to take you to figure
And
that
he
one
owns
out?
he owns the mine. He has something to do with the mine in the flood or the
I
hurricane,
saw that.
the
Investments.
lithium.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
invested in it. He
And
has
isn't it
stock.
interesting how the campaign is $20 million in debt, and that's exactly, did you see the numbers that they paid Megan Thee Stallion or whatever?
I think it was 5 million or something like that.
Well, it added up to 20 million in debt. But also, isn't I just saw somebody talking about the fact that there's video of Megan Thee Stallion that she's a man. That
I mean, I don't like to speculate on that shit. That shit's always weird to me, especially because the right wing side that I don't like, the conspiracy theories. Like, I've heard everyone from like Sandra
This
Bullock is a
no,
man to
this
Brad
was
Pitt
a
is a
black
woman.
panel. This was a rap show. This is like her people that there's a video, I
Even if
guess, of
that's
her
true,
on stage.
that doesn't really change anything, and that would just be on brand with the left. You know what I mean? Like,
No, it totally is a non-point. It's just like I'm just finding out things that are just uh, like okay, so many of them are actually like Michelle Obama, and like I mean, this is you see what I'm saying? It's just kind of this,
we're gonna
and
get
they're
banned
all
for
on the
these
Diddy
comments.
list. They're all on the
Well,
Diddy list.
regardless of who's a man or not, and that is hard to prove. And also, half of these bitches look like drag queens anyways because they wear so much fucking makeup and false lashes, and they
True.
all have Brazilian butt lifts, and they all have fake tits. It's hard to know. It really is. And to be honest, I don't care. But it's just it's so silly that
It
they
was
needed paid endorsements though. They needed if you don't give your endorsement of your own free will, I'm sorry, it means less than nothing to me. It means
no,
less than nothing to me.
but they're
These
all on the
people
Diddy list, and they don't seem to be honest. Like nobody on the left will even like talk. Like it just seems so. Why it just
well,
seems so
when
obvious.
you talk about that, then they pull up a Trump with a picture of Epstein in 1995, you know, and it's like, oh, but did you also find out that
Oh,
he cut him off in the
fair
late
enough.
90s as well? But he did. He cut him off in the late 90s, long before he ever even
Yeah,
ran for president. So it's like,
yeah.
yeah, they might have been friends. And by the way, it's documented. He never went to Epstein Island. Yes, he did fly on his plane one time from like, I think it was from Florida to New York or something like that because he ended up needing a ride and the dude offered it for him. But he never went to Epstein Island. That was your boy Bill Clinton that was on there
And
20 plus times, 60 times, something fucking
and the
crazy
truth
like
is,
that.
they take pictures with each other, all of them, at these
I mean,
things. They
sure,
all
sure.
take pictures
There's
with each
Trump with
other.
Diddy too, in the early 2000s. Not
Mhm.
anytime recently, I don't think. And by the way, Diddy endorsed your girl. He endorsed Kamala. You know what I mean? Again, all the people that are disgusting to me endorse this woman. Bill
Mhm.
Gates, what was it? 50 million fucking dollars to her campaign. Are you kidding
Mhm.
me? And I'm supposed to vote for her? I fucking hate Bill Gates. I hate everything Bill Gates represents. I think he is a fucking elitist, eugenicist, Malthusian psychopath. Anybody that
Mhm.
he's voting for, I'm not voting for. And guess what? If he endorsed Donald Trump, I wouldn't fucking vote for Donald Trump. Okay. Like, so, like, no,
Mhm.
I'm everyone who liked your girl is an absolute evil fucking garbage
Yep.
can. So, no. And by the way, she needed paid endorsements. Oprah, Megan the Stallion, Beyonce, all these bitches, they all got paid. They got paid to
Mhm.
endorse her. What does that
Yeah.
tell you? They weren't even giving their
I saw
endorsements
the numbers
willingly.
today. I think Megan Thee Stallion got 5 million. Oprah
5
got, I
million.
think, the least amount.
But you know what is funny too is
Ew.
apparently they're now trying to raise money even though they are 20 million in debt. And by the way, I'm sure Trump is trolling, but I guarantee to do it, put his money where his mouth is. He made a tweet that said
I saw that. That he
he
was
would
gonna
pay off
pay
her
for her
debt.
to get her out of
He would
debt.
pay for her debt as a form of like coming together and unity. And also I saw that they are now trying to fundraise to raise money to recount the votes as if that's gonna save them. They want to recount. They're gonna raise money for
That
it,
what can
which
save
is
him?
oh, they want to recount. They want to raise money to recount the votes.
Oh,
Yeah, they're raising money for that, but so that money that's raised in her campaign, it's not
oh,
going to go towards that debt. Just okay. Shit is hilarious to me.
so crazy.
It's so
It's so
pathetic.
crazy.
It's so pathetic. People need to get
Yeah,
a grip. You
it
lost.
is.
You're
It's
being sore ass losers. I'm not. I have. I mean, I've been posting shit, but I'm not like those like Nick Fuent. I'm not rubbing it in. I'm just pointing out facts and honesty of why you guys lost and why you should
yeah.
take a good hard look at yourself. You don't represent. And when they say, "Oh, Bernie Sanders came out and said, you know, the working class abandoned them because the Democrats abandoned the working class," and then they go, "No, they didn't. That's a lie." But then you have Sunny Hostin, all these people talking about how illiterate, stupid, uneducated, dumb, corrupt, all the fucking degrading names they're calling the American people that voted for Trump. And then they're going to turn around and say that they haven't abandoned the working class. They haven't abandoned the uneducated class of people, which are the working class, by the way. Working class and middle class are not the same thing for all of you uneducated people, okay? And then you're going to sit here and call people misogynistic, racist, sexist, homophobic, bigots, uneducated, stupid. And then you're going to turn around and at the same time say, but the Democrats haven't abandoned them. Give me a fucking break. You have been looking down your nose at these people for years, and people finally realized it, and they're sick of
Had
you.
enough.
They've had enough, man. They said,
They've
oh,
just
yeah,
had
you think
enough.
all of that of us? You think we're just so uneducated and stupid? We'll show you. We'll show you. Okay, cool. Well, you're out. You know what I mean? And also, it's just like, they have this utter disdain for the American people, and it's proven by the fact that they do not trust democracy. It is the Democrats that subvert the democratic process. They literally installed Kamala. They fucking installed her. There was no primary. Nobody voted for her. And the one time that she did run for president, Tulsi Gabbard knocked her ass clear out of the fucking way. Clear out of the way. Tulsi Gabbard, boom, blew her out of the
Yes, she
fucking
did.
water. You know what I mean? So it's like, the Democrats don't trust the American people, and it's in the pudding. They disdain us. They hate us. They do not trust us. They think we're stupid, uneducated, fucking peasants, and that's why they do not even trust their own people in their party to elect their government, because they hate even the members of their own party. They hate them. They disdain them. They distrust them, which is why they pick the candidates. They install the candidates. They hate you, by the way, guys. They fucking hate you, and you keep voting for them. It's really sad. It's really freaking sad. So sorry, I'm on one tonight.
No, it's great.
I need to smoke weed after this or something.
What? You have to smoke weed after this? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I have to smoke some weed.
No,
I'll
that's
have a
good.
real coughing attack.
I think it's
way,
well said.
And I get it. I'm a little feisty sometimes, but somebody's got to point it out that your own party hates you and doesn't trust you to pick who to vote for because they think you're stupid, and yet you still align yourselves with people that think you're stupid. We don't do that.
And treat you as such.
By the way, how beautiful is this bracelet? It was my mom's.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
She bought it in the 70s, she said, for $80. And she said my grandma and grandpa like harangued her and was like, I can't believe you spent that much money on that. And it's like handmade from like a Native American artist. And now it's worth like at least $400. So I guess, thanks, inflation.
A good investment.
Yeah. And she's so cute. She said,
yeah, it'll be interesting.
Time for you to have it. I thought it was sweet.
Oh, that's sweet. I love turquoise. I love turquoise. Well, it'll be very interesting to see how it actually unfolds. I've limited how much stuff I've been watching, and then also with the Diddy stuff, following that. But I've had to, and it's some like the Jamie Foxx stuff that you don't see that being talked about. So
it's been overshadowed right now.
Yeah, and so I have enough. I've watched enough previously that stuff updates will roll in my feed. There seems to be new filings every day. Jaguar Right is one that is. It's interesting. There's a lot of people coming out, telling stories, and it's just interesting to watch who's coming out of the woodwork. And
I saw something that said he's never going to get out of jail. And also, like, I'm sure you've seen all the Wendy Williams stuff. Like how she's been saying it for years and years. And like, and
that's where a lot of these people, that's a lot of these people that are on these channels that I'm watching there. And it's I just have never really been too much into following the scene per se, but these people are definitely, they're coming out of the woodwork, and that they were up in that scene. And it goes back to, when I was in Seattle, and back when I was, uh yeah, it's hard, it's still hard for me to articulate, because I have so much stuff that comes up from it. And um you know in LA, I just had already gone through the party scene. So even though I was, it was in LA and invited to parties and stuff, I was far past the age where I was like, going out was a huge thing. That was more in the 90s, when this stuff, a lot of it was happening. And so I was in my 20s, and um just, I was so young, and I just think about young girls now, and um yeah, it's just such a predatorial kind of world in general. And um yeah, it's one of those things too, where adults do what you want to do. So I just don't have a judgment on that. But hearing some of these stories about the girls that are coming out with their stories is pretty, it's just, it's just a lot of words that I don't know how to necessarily find which one's the best one. It breaks my heart in a lot of ways. And then I feel like, what's the point of even, like, are people ever really going to care about trafficking? Are we ever going to really care about war and trafficking? Are we really ever going to have the kind of significant strides? Because I'm not one that thinks that forgiveness is the answer. I think Christians get taken advantage of a lot, and why this continues is because they are truly turning a cheek, whether in their family or else. And not just Christians. I think that we're perceived as a Christian country, and I think that the good nature of this country is preyed upon, and the good nature of people in general is preyed upon, and that
Yeah, Christian
forgiving,
values, you know.
yeah, and that forgiveness is not the answer for this. It is off. You're done. Like, get this energy out of the goddamn gene pool.
Yeah.
And that, then, as frustrating, it starts with the individual. And so when we can even circle it back to these women that are having this visceral reaction and wanting to poison men with poison rings. I mean, this goes deep. The Madonna whore complex, the dungeon behavior, sadomasochistic behavior, sex slavery and sex trafficking goes back. It's just in all of us, and it's very deep, and it's uncomfortable, and we've talked
Yeah,
about that before.
the martyr behavior, it's like it's not gonna lie, it's funny to me. It is comical. It's sad that it's like a form of entertainment in a way, but it is because it's like it's so irrational and illogical, and it's just like they are also guilty themselves of being fascistic, if you will,
Yeah.
or authoritarian, if you will,
Yep.
and they can't see it. They can't see it in themselves. You know what I mean? But there's like that saying, it's like the best way of like, being aware of your own darkness is the best way to recognize it in others. But it's like these people aren't even aware of
Mhm.
their own darkness. They're not aware of how
Mm-mm.
authoritarian they are, of how controlling they are, of how they
Mhm.
leave no room for any diversity of thought and opinion.
Mhm.
Oh, they talk about diversity this, diversity that, diversity in, culture and color of skin and language, but real diversity is diversity of thought. That's the real
Mhm.
diversity, is being different on the inside. Outside features are mean very little to me, mean very little to anyone, like
Mhm.
it's your character, it's your mind, it's your brain that is very unique, so it's what makes you who you are. It's what gives you your creativity, your spark, sure,
Everything.
appearances matter. I get that, like I get, even like gaining 7 pounds or whatever, that sucks. Appearances do matter to some extent, but that's not the end all be all. And I would argue that that's not the most important part of people, you know?
Yeah. Well,
And
feeling good on the inside and outside, regardless of just feeling good, being healthy. I like the way I feel when I'm physically looking a certain way. It feels good. I feel healthy.
yeah, of
And
course.
my mental, spiritual, and physical health are my responsibility.
I mean, they
And
do make a
so,
trifecta, mental, spiritual, and physical health. It is
yeah. And
a trinity,
so,
if you will.
yes, that trinity. And I take responsibility for all three. So, you know,
You should.
I I can't imagine ever having recorded that, put that out, and first off, they had to have seen the backlash. I mean, they're or maybe that's what they wanted, the attention. I don't know, but I would hope if they looked in the mirror and had a come to whatever moment, like a reality that maybe I'm not okay here. Like that's a cry for help. Instead of, I would imagine there's also gonna be people, you go girl, yeah, let's wear the blue bracelets and we're gonna do it. And they're feeding off the attention that they're getting for it in some ways. But I can't imagine it feeling positive. But
It's just so silly. Oh my
it's
God.
just
Like,
it's there's been several things over the time that we've been doing this show that I've thought, I can't believe we're even having the conversation, and this is one of them.
I mean, it's also just that age old stupid little adage when you have one finger pointing at somebody, you've got pointing back at yourself. You know what I mean? So these people are so
Yeah,
willing to be like, it's you, it's you, it's you. And it's like, honey, you got three pointed back at you. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's time to look in the mirror. Maybe it's time to pull out your magnifying glass for some introspection, you know? Like, maybe you should stop projecting and start internalizing, you know? Like, maybe you should go in a little
yeah,
bit and self analyze and self
yeah.
criticize. Because believe it or not, that's one thing that the left is majorly lacking. They have no self analysis. They can't be self critical. They can't take constructive criticism. You know what I mean? And it's
They can't
pathetic.
meme.
They,
They
well, there's
can't
a
meme.
reason they can't meme because they can't tell the truth. In order to have an
Mhm,
effective meme, a memeology, if you will, in order to meme effectively, you need to have the truth on your side. And when your entire fucking little house of cards is made of lies and ideology, you can't meme because it's all based on fucking lies. The shit crumbles. That's why they
mhm.
can't meme. That's why they can't tell jokes. What do you need in order for comedy to be effective? What's the one thing needed?
Truth.
That's why they don't like
Mhm,
comedy. That's why they've
mhm.
outlawed laughter and comedy
Yeah,
and comedians because they hate the
mhm.
fucking truth. They fucking hate it. They hate it because it makes them self analyze and it
Did
makes
you see
them go
Jimmy
in.
Kimmel crying?
Yes, good. Here's a fucking tissue, you little fucking wiener. Like, geez, little penis wrinkle.
Do you believe that he was actually crying? I didn't watch it. Or do you believe that, I mean, because he's clearly on the payroll. So I just don't know that like a grown I
I
just
mean, I knew he was an actor, but shit, if he can cry on command, then dibs to him, I guess. Like, what do you think about your dog dying or something? Like,
well,
or
that's
does
method
or does
acting.
or does Kamala or does Kamala losing actually make you cry?
And Ben Stiller, all those guys just ugh, they're just gross to me. Just
Like,
gross.
ew, it gives me the heebie-jeebies.
I know.
So slimy and pathetic. Like, go jerk off with your tears or
Mhm.
something, losers. Like, geez.
Just bitch made.
Yeah, it's the least manly, masculine thing you can do. I've seen my brother cry a hand, not when we were kids, you know, but as an adult, I've seen my dad cry a handful of times, and it's always over something very emotional or very sad. And it's not, even if Trump lost, my father would never, ever in a million fucking years cry over that bullshit. You know what I mean? Neither would I. If
Yeah,
Trump
I
lost,
just it's
I would
just
have been like, I mean, that sucks. And I really think America is
like
we're in
that's a
some
shitty
rough
move,
ass
but here
times.
we
Yeah,
go.
because can you imagine Kamala talking to the Prince of Saudi Arabia? How about Xi Jinping? How about Putin? How about the president of
No,
Venezuela or
no.
Ecuador? You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine her
Anywhere,
speaking to
anybody.
any world leaders off the cuff? Can you imagine her intimidating a world leader? That's what I want. I want my president to intimidate. I want him to have these fuckers on the run. You know what I mean? And Kamala, she would not do that. They're all laughing at us. They were laughing at us. They were praying she would be president so they could
Mm-hmm.
take advantage of us. They were
Yeah.
fingers crossed, baby. Please let the American people be as absolutely stupid as the elites say that they are. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like that's what they were all gunning on. And now that Trump
Mm-hmm.
is back in business, they're all running with their tails between their legs. Oh, he's a tyrant. If he's a tyrant to Putin, I don't give a shit. I hope he is, you know, like they're scared of
Mm-hmm.
him. Isn't
And I
it just
think
funny
deep
though?
down, Putin wants it too.
Yeah.
I think, and there actually is. I can't occult studies somewhere where it's like they actually play at this level where that is the only that's really what they enjoy. If they don't respect you and you don't hit them at that level, they really don't want to play chess with you. You're not a fucking chess player. And they're
No.
all on the goddamn chessboard playing, what's the best move is not to play. But these people, that is their job. That is their divine mission on this fucking planet, is to play these roles
Yeah,
and to
they're
play
playing
the
4D
game in
chess. They're
chess.
playing 4D chess with literal human beings' lives at stake, you know? And it's like,
Well, that's
I
why you
want,
want a chess player you want your king and queen. You want your,
correct.
it's just, yeah. Yeah. I, yeah, I have to constantly remind myself that very few people, um, well, not very few, but there are less dot connectors than I gave credit for. There are some people that I like, you're, you, you got some bad intel on the dots to connect, and then there are people that just can't connect a fucking dot at all.
Well,
And
there's also, yeah, there's that, but there's also the people that were just too blind. They were too just, they couldn't see it because they didn't want to see it. They couldn't admit that they could
mhm,
possibly be wrong because now their worldview has to
mhm.
change. And it does. I'm sorry, your
Yeah,
worldview
there's
sink
just a
or
lot
swim
of
because
virtue signaling. The virtue
yes,
signaling didn't pay off.
they need to come up with a new strategy though, and I hope they fucking realize this now. They need a new strategy because whatever little thing that they've been running and playing the last since 2016, it's not working. People are sick of it. We're sick of being belittled. We're sick of being told that we're horrible people because you need it to afford to feed your family. What do you mean? Oh, eggs and gas and your electricity bill comes before my right to get an abortion when they have 3 fucking kids and they can barely pay their rent. You're goddamn right it comes first. And why don't you understand that? When they can barely put food on the table, their children
Mhm,
are going hungry, they can't
mhm,
afford new shoes for their kids this year,
mhm,
and you think that your stupid little idea of rights comes before people feeding their children? Like, what is
mhm,
wrong with you?
mhm,
Wrong with these
mhm,
people? I'm
mhm,
glad you. No, well, we don't have kids. Very unrelatable. Well, good. I don't have fucking kids either, but I still understand very innately why money and the economy
mhm,
and being able to afford bread and electricity and to run your heater this year during winter is more important than federal abortion rights. You know what? And I get it. I've made a post about like this is the system working states' rights because not only did Nevada go red for Trump, we also codified into law, into the Nevada Constitution, a woman's right and ability to receive an abortion, right? But that means that a high number of people who voted for Trump also voted to codify this into law, right? So that means that it's not so
mhm,
black and white. It's not so everybody who votes for Trump is a misogynist. Then how did they also vote for abortion rights if that was true? You
mhm,
know, so then I said,
mhm,
Trump kicked it to the states and this is states' rights working. And somebody was like, oh, but what about women in Arkansas? What about women in Pakistan? What about women in Afghanistan? What about women in Iran? Okay. Like, I'm not saying the system is perfect. It's not. There's no such thing. Human beings will never attain
mhm,
perfection, and we will never attain a perfect form of governance. It's not possible
mhm.
strictly on the fact that human nature is not perfect, okay? We can only create to our ability what we are, which is an imperfect system, flawed, yes, but it's still the best we have. And I'm sorry, I get it. If
Yes.
you're 12, you can't move to Oregon. But if you are an adult, if you have self determination, adult and you disagree with your state's laws, you should absolutely get the fuck out of your state and go to
Mm-hmm.
Colorado or go to Washington or go to Oregon or go to New York, okay? Go to somewhere that
Mm-hmm.
aligns with your policies. And I will go as far as to say, as conservatives,
Yeah.
you do the same thing. If you don't like how Portland, the laws in Oregon, get the fuck out of Oregon. Go to Utah. What are you still doing there? Okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
America. You can go to a place
We have
that
50 of
aligns
them to
with
choose
your
from.
ideals.
We got 50 of them to choose from.
You can go to the place
And
that
being
aligns
from
with you.
Oregon, there's definitely a reason why I would not, besides the rain, I would not choose to be in Oregon. I'm in Arizona for a reason. Well, I mean, for several reasons, but I have no desire. Oregon, are you kidding me? Nope. It would
Time,
not appeal to me.
this is a time for adults to put your money where your mouth is
Hmm.
on both sides of the field. If you don't agree with the ideals of your governing state, you should get the hell out of there and stop fucking complaining and get the hell out of there. Go somewhere that aligns with you
Hmm.
so you feel safe, so
Hmm.
you feel heard, so you feel seen, so you feel protected. That is what
Hmm.
empowerment means. And you have self-determination. You can move. I know money's tight for everybody. Where there's a will, there's a way. You make it fucking work. You hate Arkansas or Alabama or whatever the hell. Get out of there. What are you still doing there? Go somewhere else that
Hmm.
aligns with you. That is the beauty of America. And like I already said, it's not perfect and it never will be. And it's not, but it is the closest and freest system that we have for self determination. You know what I mean?
Well, the Google searches were the highest, and they always, I'm getting out of here. I actually have a couple people on my Facebook feed. One of them that's like, she's, I'm shopping for, to move to other countries. It's like, oh, okay, hey, and you should, if you should go to where you feel safe, and if you have the capability to do that, you should do that. You should do that. You should move to a state. You should do what makes you happy, and you should live in love, not fear. So if you're in that kind of fear where you should move, you should do that. You should do that. I want I want
Goes for
I
both
want it. I
sides.
want I wish for you all that you wish for yourself,
I actually do, and
you
I
know?
really do think that
And
that's why America is
there's a
special.
yeah, yeah. We're a beacon to the rest of the world. So why everybody, and like when I was over in Egypt, for everybody telling you that they hate us over here, no, they don't. They would give anything to be here. They would give anything to be born in this country and have a passport that says the United States on
Especially
it
women,
and be a citizen.
especially women.
The women that I met, I'm still friends with one on Facebook, and just the story and her to be a woman in the workforce, they make, if you want to talk about pennies on the dollar, and it's just horrific what they have to go through and what these women are actually accomplishing by taking advantage of the fact that in Egypt that they can work, or in Jordan that they can work, but they are still under, uh, uh,
Extreme
I mean,
oppression, extreme oppression.
yeah, and just the way that, I mean, it's just awful. It's just absolutely awful, and they would give anything to be born in this country and have a United States passport and ID, so they don't hate us. Well, some of them, I mean, if you go blow up their homes, and you radicalize them because you've invaded, and our policy. I remember, this is actually cute, funny. We were we always had machine guns, like, we were always surrounded by protection. And actually out in the temples, out in the where we would go, like Temple of Isis or Hathor, outside of the pyramids. You're actually the least safe in the small towns or the urban, outside area. So we're coming back from one of the temples, and all of a sudden, like, cars just block off the bus. And of course, it's it's a surreal moment, right? And everybody's, pulling out their machine guns. And then outside along the bus, all the little kids are there. And little kids are waving. And then we get to one little guy, and he goes like this. He goes, "You." I was like, okay, well, we know whose home is radicalizing their children, and then but they had to negotiate us getting anyway. This wasn't anything too serious, but it was like that moment of recognizing that you're in a land that is, they all have cell phones, but they're stuck in another time. It's very, very surreal, but most of them would give anything to be over here. Yeah,
And it's
it's
not, I'm sorry, it's not just Egypt and Middle East. It's people in South America, people even in Europe, in Russia. There are a lot of countries people would love to
yeah,
be able to either get a visa here, a
yeah,
green card, you
yeah,
know what I mean?
all over.
Because
And that's why I
regardless,
think that,
well,
this is an
regardless of
opportunity.
how imperfect America is, and it is still the freest on earth. You know what I mean? Like it is still place that still offers some semblance of freedom. And you can also go to a place that aligns with
Mhm,
your ideals of freedom. You know what I mean? Regardless if you agree with
mhm,
Arkansas or
mhm,
Oregon and Colorado or whatever, Montana, you know what I mean? You can pick where you
mhm.
want to
You
go as an
you
adult,
got 50
you
to
know?
choose from. Mhm. Yeah, I'm more hopeful than I've been in quite some time, and I will say that you just pull Ron Paul into the equation, and that gets my little heart hoping, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this feeling. I'm okay with having hope and not being idealistic and thinking that it's going to be perfect, but it feels better than it's felt in quite some time. And to have Nicole Shanahan, who I've said many times how much I just really, really like her, and so many in what could possibly be really, truly a very powerful administration and extension, how they're, going out. I saw Trump today said he's getting rid of the Department of Education. So I mean, I've seen several things that he's been saying, but that's one that,
To start.
well, hey, that's when to me, that's when that Ron Paul and the libertarian philosophy is in the ear of
You know,
people
and I have a lot of teacher friends, a lot of them
that
actually, and I think
are making big decisions and listening. And I will
kind of breaking up there. There we
take that
go.
bit of hope. I can't see you. Oh, there you are.
It's
Okay.
breaking up. It sounded really broken up, like it was like struggling there for a minute. I think it's back. You were like freezing a
I
lot, like
don't know
the
if we're
voice was
coming. Oh,
freezing a
there you
lot.
are. Okay.
Hopefully it's back.
Yeah. Looks like we're
Um,
back. I think it's on my
there
end.
is a lot of hope from just a lot of people. I mean, even like I didn't like JD Vance at first. I mean, but when I heard him debate, I was like, oh my gosh, like this guy is levels above Tim Walz. You know what I mean? He's levels above Kamala in his speaking
Yeah.
skills. And also, to be
Yeah.
honest, but did you know that he is the first millennial in the White House? The
I
first
saw that.
millennial.
He's
We
holding a
finally have
machine gun and it says,
representation.
"Welcome to the first." Yeah. He's
Millennial.
got
And
his
it's like,
AK.
so for it's also weird that so many millennials I know have been talking about we need younger candidates, we need younger people in the White House. There's nobody that represents millennials and Gen Z. And I actually heard, I will try to find it to send it to you because it's very eloquent and beautiful. And he was talking about Gen Z, I think, and it's really freaking sad, man. He was talking about how this Gen Z is the first generation, I mean, almost since America's inception, that will have it worse than their parents. They have the highest suicide rate, the highest unemployment rate. They have the highest drug addiction rate. They're going to be the
Mhm.
first generation to never own homes. Like, it is bleak for them. And Gen Z actually came out and voted
Mhm.
Trump and Vance in a big way, more youth votes than they expected, you know? And I'm kind of excited to have a young person in the White House. He's, I think, a
Yeah.
year younger than me, you know? He's 40 or
I
39
think
or
it,
40.
I again, I just have, I, first off, in just working with collective energy the way and looking at the astrology and and how many times did I say it throughout last year's shows? People that use their truth story to stand above the crowd with courage are going to be the ones that this next 20 years is different for them. It's authenticity and your truth are going to be the currency. Your energy, your energetic hygiene, your spiritual hygiene, your energy field, all that. We're moving into a new language. We're moving into a new system in which people understand the language of their nervous system, and in turn the star system. We all have a star system inside of us. We are moving to a different way of being energetically, with technology, the advancements. We are we are moving in an exponential rate. And if you're not taking care of these things, or even maybe paying some attention that they're not quite so goofy as you might think, because it is the language of the future. It's the human being of the future.
It's that, but it is also coming back to reality in a weird way too. There is going to be like an advancement, I feel like, but it's also going to be like coming back to reality, logic, taking something
Natural
back.
law.
Like I want the left and the right to move towards the center. Like that was the talk I had with my friend about Nick Fuentes and some other people that were making stupid comments, you know, as it was like, I don't like that because not only do I, as somebody that is more center right, I want the left to move back to the center and I want the right to move back to the center
Sure.
in a big way because we've talked a lot about the pendulum. The further it swings to the left, the further it swings to the right. And it's like we need to make ingress. You know, we need to come back towards the middle to
Sure.
each
Well,
other,
just
you know, because
remember who we are. Remembering. Just remember how magical and beautiful and how much we love each other, and that we really are meant to figure this is the greatest alchemy
yeah,
that's
I
ever
hate to sound
happened.
corny, but coexist, man. Peace, coexist. Like
Yeah.
as much as I love making fun of a coexist bumper sticker, it's like we do have to, you know, and it's like
Well, yeah.
if we can't figure it out, no one can. So can we all just calm it down, especially my friends, even, and then just the random people who are literally freaking out, even though he hasn't taken office yet? Like, literally nothing's changed. Oh my God, that reminded me really quick. Did you see how there's this new plan to force Kamala to be the first female president and they want
Yeah.
Biden to step down? Like, how absolutely embarrassing and disgusting.
Why would you even want that?
Slay queen?
Anyway,
Like, what? As her, why would you? How embarrassing and pathetic. Again, that
that's
you
what I
had
mean.
to
How would
be, they had,
anybody? Yeah.
absolutely absurd though. Once again, they have to subvert democracy and the
Mhm.
democratic process to install the first female. That's what it is. It's an installation. Like, how do you not see that? How as and these people would love it. They would all fucking clap and like shit.
Mhm.
Maybe it might even be good. There, you got your first slay queen female president by installation. How embarrassing though. Like how fucking embarrassing. But whatever, if it'll like
Yeah.
make some sort of concession, like have your first female president for literally one fucking month. I don't give a shit. I think it's humiliating as a woman
I was
that in
gonna.
order
That's a humiliation ritual at that
it is
point.
a humiliation ritual for her, for
Mhm.
females.
For all of them.
Oh my God, it is humiliating. You're right. That would be a humiliation ritual. And we all know how much
Mhm.
they love that. They love that because they
Mhm.
get some weird loosh power off of
Mhm.
it. You
Yep,
know, it's
they
like
do. They
how
do.
horrific. Ugh.
Yep, it is. It is
When I
her.
read that, I was like,
I
I was like,
know.
they can't. I was like, they, please
I
God,
know.
no. But then low key, I'm like, but maybe yes, because it'll be so humiliating and also just it'll go down in history as like the dumbest fucking chess move of all time.
Well, just
Like
continuation of the worst reality show. Like, okay, just like, can we get some new actors over there on that side? Like, or like, but again, yeah, the humiliation ritual, all the people that got paid are all on the Diddy list. And it's just, it's,
and they got
well,
paid.
I
That's
hope.
pretty much all I have to know is that they got paid. They didn't give these endorsements of their own free
Mhm.
will. They didn't give them freely because they believe in the candidate. They gave them because they got
They're,
paid.
and then the
And
other ones were
also,
blackmailed.
why do these leftists think that they have something in common with celebrities? Nothing can. These are what are called the coastal elites. We call them that because they have their big fucking beach mansions. Okay, they are also
Mhm.
above the law in a weird way. They are elitist. They are the stars that you're supposed to look up to, but they have
Mhm.
nothing in common with you. Absolutely not a goddamn thing. These people don't represent you. There's a reason why these celebrities never mention inflation or the price of eggs or butter. That's $7 fucking, by the way. It was $6.69 at the store. I was just at the grocery store tonight. Butter is $7 for a package, okay? And they scoff at that. It doesn't matter to me. You're right, it doesn't matter to them, which is why they do not represent you. They have nothing in common with you, and they think you're a fucking peasant who deserves to have
Mhm.
$7 butter. They don't care about you. They don't
Mhm.
care about me. All they care about is maintaining their wealth, their authority, their elitism over you, over the public.
Mhm.
They want to maintain that ivory tower where they can look down their nose at you. That's what they like.
Mhm.
Why do people think that these people represent them? I don't understand that. I never will. It's so insane to me that to think that some Julia Roberts, George Clooney is on your level, guys. Like, okay, yeah,
Mhm.
sure.
Just, I mean,
Not
it always goes back to how incredibly brilliant the mind control is in the marketing. These people, they know obviously they've been in control for a very long time. They've had power for a very long time, and they have a playbook that the rest of us, um, they have the money and the big guns and the mind control ability.
that
And
being
so
said, it's a point of pride that billions of dollars of propaganda didn't work. I love that. That nothing can make me happier that the billion
me
dollar
too.
propaganda machine failed
Didn't work on us.
miserably on
Yep.
us, but on most of the public,
Yeah.
on not on anybody, not even
Yeah.
the poor, uneducated,
Yeah.
underclass,
Yeah.
working class. Didn't work. We're clearly smart enough
Mhm.
to outbeat your little propaganda machine. So win. Like
Mhm.
who's the stupid ones? Not us. It didn't
Mhm.
work on us. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we did this. I'm sorry guys for all my coughing. It's actually
Yeah,
gross,
no,
but
and
I've been
why don't we
pausing it because
give your voice a rest, and I'm about to pee my pants, and so
oh shoot, yeah, and it's
sorry, that's
an
probably a
hour
little more.
30. We kept it
Yeah.
under 2 hours, so that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm glad you're feeling better, and,
Just getting rid of this. Pray for me to get rid of this phlegm.
take good care of yourself. It is that time of year where, the days longer or, shorter,
Chilly.
and yeah, and cold's coming up, and just, yeah, it can be easy to slip into, uh what is it? Light deprivation, I think.
Yeah,
Sunlight
or the seasonal
deprivation.
depression.
Mhm.
Well, thanks for sticking
Alright,
it out
girl.
with us and my hacking cough, guys. I hope me getting fired up was worth it.
It I had fun catching up with you, and I love it
Did
when
we
you
have
get
any
fired up.
comments?
We had Alexandro Moyotti. He said, "Hello, everybody. How are you today?" I just looked at the chat, so I'm just seeing that. So,
Well,
hello, Alexandra. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff.
please.
And we'll see you next Monday. and we'll
We'll
get
see you
it. We
next
were a little
Monday.
late today. I mean, I guess, yeah, we're live, but because we realized, I was like, okay, I sent the invite. And she's like, wait a minute, it's only 7 o'clock here. I'm like, oh, okay. So we're going to have to kind of get used to the new time thing and see,
I
maybe if
can
you
do
want to,
7, you do 8, definitely.
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, have a
But thanks,
beautiful week.
guys. I love you, Kim.
I love you too. And
Mm.
yeah, I'll see you over on the Instagram sending memes to each other.
I'll catch you on the flip side, girl.
Okay. Love you.
Love
Bye.
you. Bye.